So, good morning to everybody. Really thank you for participating to this webinar. And so I will have the honor to be the moderator of this initiative. And as you saw from the agenda, from the promotion of the European Digital SME Alliance, we are trying to give some hints about the opportunities for European startups and SMEs from the Smart Network and Services Joint Undertaking. I will talk a little bit about that. And then giving some example of also financial opportunity from a large project of the Smart Network and Services Initiative. The agenda that we would like to present is an initial introduction from the European Digital SMEs Alliance about their activity. Then I will go a little more on the general feature of this joint undertaking and how the different project and the different open call of the program can be used by the different applicants. And so as a tentative to give you really some practical hints how to understand how the whole system is working. Then there will be the presentation of the most relevant project of SNS, the T2, from Mauro Boldi. He's one of the managers of this project, and will explain the general structure of this initiative and also what has been planned to have some ideas together with startup and SMEs. Then Yannis Markopoulos, that is from Nova, and it is the leader of the FIDAL project, will present the specific opportunities coming from there. And then we will talk the last part about another large project, Triesnet, where Giancarlo Sacco will represent the coordinator of this for general information. And then I will have to substitute Barbara because has some personal problem in explaining the open call opportunities coming from also this project. Please, for then any kind of questions, please write anything, comment or question you would like in the chat. So at the end of all the presentation, not one by one, but so at the end of the webinar, we will try to address any question and give the answer. This initiative is registered, so if someone has a problem about being registered, I mean, you are aware. And I think we can start with the first presentation from Serena. So, Serena, please.
Thank you very much, Maurizio, and good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation. Just one moment, because I cannot... Sorry for this inconvenience. My colleague will try to share my presentation. So just to introduce what I'm going to present, I will present the Digital SME, the European Digital SME Alliance, our work, and what we do with specific focus on ICT and ICT SMEs in Europe. It's really weird. So sorry again for this little delay. Starting from our network, as I have already said, the European Digital SME Alliance is a large network composed by 40,000 of SMEs working in the ICT sector. We currently represent about 30 national and regional associations from European Union member states and neighborhood countries. We also work through our working groups and focus group that I will present later in my presentation. And we are currently involved in about 150 project proposals. And we also rely on the work of more than 400 experts who are working and involved in various working groups across Europe. This is an overview on our working groups, focus groups, and task forces to let you know what are our main working areas. So we are currently 5 working groups which are focused on cybersecurity and data protection, digital patents and intellectual property rights, skills, standards. And we also have 2 task forces which are focused on blockchain and DLT data. And we are currently leading 3 working focus group on smart communities, ICT sustainability, and artificial intelligence. Our community, as already said, is composed by more than 40,000 SMEs working in ICT sector, which involves currently more than 6,100 people working in this sector. And our community is composed by the so-called digital enablers, meaning data and IoT specialized SMEs, IT security providers, and so on. So as you can see, our community is composed by a very large network working on different emerging technologies and overall in the ICT sector. This is an overview on our network. So we are working with different stakeholders. We are represented through our 2 different technical and working groups in the European institutions. We work very closely with the European Commission and with the European Council, and we are also part of different private associations such as INATBA and Small Business Standards. The European Digital SME Alliance works with 3 pillars, which are funding, policy, and networking. On the first pillar, so funding, this is an activity and a service that we provide to our members. We have a funding portal which displays the EU-funded projects for SMEs. So our target is, of course, SMEs working in the European Union. We have 7 open calls typologies for different targeted audience, and which aims at receiving third-party funding. And we also display constant updates on EU events, workshop, training, tools, and experts group and about their work. This is an overview on our funding portal. We add constantly the best calls for experts or funding opportunities for SMEs. Our members are always up to date on what's happening on the funding activities from the European Union and the institutions. On the other pillar, this is our policy activities. Here you will find also in the presentation that you will have time to read more in depth after this webinar. These are our policy priorities. So we are very much focused on developing a green and digital transition for Europe and for SMEs. Of course, we have a special focus on standards for SMEs, digital sovereignty, digital single market, and we are, of course, also very much interested in helping SMEs to gain visibility and to gain new economic opportunities. You will find our policy activities in our publication section. You will find position papers, SMEs, guides for SMEs. For example, we have released a guide on blockchain and distributed ledger technology, which has been developed with small business standards. And you will find all this information in our publication sections. Going to the last pillar, which is networking activities, which involves, again, our members. And these are opportunities that we developed in order to help SMEs in engaging in B2B activities such as matchmaking, events, workshops. This is a very important opportunity for SMEs to present their activity and to find other SMEs working on similar topics across Europe. One of the activities that we run every month is the Present Your Business event, which is still open to our members. So every first Wednesday of the month, they have the opportunity to present their activities, their focus, and in their job. So we have every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, 5 companies presenting their work. It's a very nice opportunity for them to engage and to each other and to let the community know about their job. And then we have also the matchmaking platform, which aims at accelerating the innovation among SMEs, also raising their awareness in specific technology solutions developed by other SMEs. So this is a tool that our members can use to connect with other SMEs, strengthening their potential business opportunities and also to engage with customers. As I said, you will find this presentation on our website, so you will have time to read more in depth and to find all the information. And for any questions, you can also contact us. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Serena. So let's go then with the agenda. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I'll give this presentation about the general feature of SNS and just remind that this initiative, this workshop is supported by the flagship project ASAX that Mauro will present, and these 2 large projects of the program FIDAL and Triesnet. We will also utilize some material that was developed by 2 Irish research centers, SETU and Walton. These 2 entities work with a specific support action of the program, and so they gather a lot of information, and I try to then present them during my presentation. First, information that here we are talking about the research program of the European Commission, Horizon Europe. We don't touch anything related to structural fund, such as cohesion fund or others. This program, SNS, the Smart Network and Service Program, is part of the general research program. Just to understand how is positioned in the global program, Horizon program, just to remind, I don't want to go to detail, that Horizon Europe is structured in 3 main pillars. One on open science, more on the scientific world. The central one is helping the industrial competitiveness of European entities. And the SNS, our program, is part of this pillar, is under the digital and industry part, because this pillar also covers the program, inclusive and secure society programs, food and natural resources. But there is a very big portion dedicated to competition of digital industry. And then there is a third pillar that are more infrastructure, helping then the deployment of the research initiative of European Commission. These are very general figures, for sure are not updated, but just to give the importance of the whole thing is 100,000 million, so 100 billion euro available. And as you see, the part that includes also the SNS joint undertaking is the largest one, covering at least half of the amount. I see that in the presentation there is Pavlos Fornorakis, that is one of the major manager of SNS. So for sure he may give many more precise information, but my role is just to give an overall glance of the initiative. So this initiative is a joint undertaking between the European Commission and a specific entity, that is the 5G Industrial Association. All of us, all the presenters, are members of this initiative, and so this part represents the private side of the joint undertaking, while of course the European Commission, it represents the public side. So what is the overall goal? Is to facilitate and develop industrial leadership in Europe, going from 5G, the evolution of 5G toward 6G, in the domain of networks and services. The objective is fostering Europe's technology sovereignty in the future 6G, boosting 5G deployment in Europe in view of developing digital leads market, and enabling, this is important, the digital and green transition of the economy and the society. And the role is also not to work standalone, but to contribute to many other initiatives, such as National Research Program, the Recovery and Resilience Facility Program, other programs such as Digital Europe, that is more dedicated to the deployment of innovative services. It's a very important role. If you would need just a glance, if you would like to see then a little bit more specific of the content of the program in terms of research initiative, of course, covering all the part of connectivity, devices, service infrastructure, new application in this digital domain, such Internet of Things, virtual reality, digital twins, holographics. And as I said, with the main goal of reinforcing Europe's technological sovereignty in this domain, safeguard European values, and enable a massive digital and green transition. This is the, let's say, the time plan of this program that, as you see, without entering any detail, starting from the good results that were achieved in the previous initiative of Horizon 2020, that was the 5G public-private initiative. So going toward the evolution of 5G towards 6G. This is more or less the year that will be covered by the different phases, because the program is divided in 3 phases. And inside this kind of program, that there are several tenders, so-called, for where the SMEs and startups may participate. For instance, as in the title, for the next call in April 2024, there will be almost 130 million euros available for collaborative research. Very few information about the structure of the whole work plan. So that is important to understand if you want to apply then to the SNS call or the open call of the specific project. The main structure is divided in more technological initiative, disruptive initiative that is called Stream A and Stream B. Hexa-X-II that will be presented by Mauro from Telecom Italia belongs to Stream B. Then there are a part that I think is the most interesting for small startups is the part called Stream D on validation of 5G and beyond 5G with use cases and trials. We know that a lot of companies, small companies, startup are very innovative in terms of new application and new services. So this is a very fertile area where they can find opportunities. And then there is the last part, this Stream C line that provides the infrastructure, the test bed to validate or the new tools, the use cases, the performance of the 5G towards 6G performance of the network, and then some supporting action, including the one that I mentioned before, Ops, that is supporting the whole program. So this is just to say, I just want here to highlight this Stream D. It's not the case that we invited FIDAL and Triesnet because are the two largest projects in terms of open call, including SMEs and startup, where they have to explore and demonstrate technology and advanced application. Yanis and then myself will try to give, and Giancarlo will try to give a little more detail about this part in the next presentation. Of course, the main project, they said they belong to the Stream D, is ASAX. Mauro will present it, so I don't want to anticipate nothing because I have a very good and well-structured presentation. And this is the part on large-scale trials and pilots with vertical. So each project is addressing different verticals, and then you can see project by project which vertical is addressed if you would like to participate. And then there is the overall infrastructure, experimental infrastructure of the whole program that will help you to support your activity in the open call. I'm saying this because it's very difficult for single startup to bring a test bed, validate with a real user in the field in an advanced technology like beyond 5G, their ideas. So this slide is just to explain to you that there are already many initiatives, many projects on the field belonging to the Stream C that will help you to support and give you all the tool and necessary support to develop your ideas. These are simply the links where you can find all the information. All our presentation will be left available from anyone. Just to mention that there is a specific, beside the general information about the program, the work plan, there is a specific initiative that is a brokerage initiative where newcomers, if you are not already working in the program, can find potential collaboration for new calls and new grants. This is just an overall idea about the projects that are already working with a relevant budget of open call that may be addressed by startup and SMEs. So this is a timeline starting from November, 6G XR, then FIDAL that will be presented by Yanis, Triesnet that also will be presented, 6G BRICS, and so on, Sandbox, 5G Imagine. So this just to show that this open call, so this opportunity for SMEs are coming every 2-3 months. So if you would like to participate, please just look to the website of the different projects, because many of these projects then have not only one open call to fund SMEs and startups, but will deploy call. And so if you go there, you can see exactly the date, the content of the call, and then we'll give more details about the two FIDAL and Triesnet, but also the other gives very good opportunities for external companies. Then I leave to you, but I don't want because it is very long, slide by slide, project by project, all the relevant information, for instance, FIDAL, that covers verticals such media, entertainment, emergency. Yanis will explain much better all this part, what is available. The support for each application, that in case of FIDAL and Triesnet is very high. It's 250,000 euros maximum for FIDAL and 300,000 euros for Triesnet. So you have all this information. And as you see, I left in the presentation, one by one, all the different projects. It's too boring to go one on it, but if you want to have really a good view, simply with a very link going browsing and with the name and title of the project on the different initiatives. The one from, as I said, from FIDAL and Triesnet will explain a little later. Thanks a lot. So going back to our plan, may I kindly ask the next presenter?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Let me share the presentation for today. Okay. Can you just ask you to confirm that you can see and listen to me well?
Yes, we can see and hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I will give an overview of the project Hexa-X-II, and I will also give you some details about how to get involved with this project. Unfortunately, we don't have open calls in Hexa-X-II, but there is a tool that I will describe at the end of my presentation that could help you being in contact with us. I'm Mauro Boldi. I'm from Team Technology and Innovation Department. You can see my contact here in the first slide if you would like to contact me. And in Hexa-X-II, we're package leader on impact creation, dissemination, standardization activities. Let me give you then this overview of this so-called flagship project that Maurizio has already introduced. And I think you should be aware of this project because it is the project that is a little bit managing from the top all the views on 6G and in particular related to the European view on 6G. That's why we are called the flagship project. Actually, Hexa-X-II is the second phase. There was Hexa-X 2021 to mid of this year. Hexa-X ended in June 2023, and Hexa-X-II started instead in January 2023 with actually a larger consortium with respect to Hexa-X and with a clear focus on the development of technology and on the definition of a 6G platform, of course, from the European perspective. Actually, the number of partners is very large because we have in the consortium 44 partners with a 23 million budget overall. You may see that almost all the countries in Europe are represented in the project, and also some international players are in, like, for example, Apple, Qualcomm, and many others. Nokia is the coordinator of the project. In particular, the coordinator is Mikko Ustalo from Nokia Bell Labs in Helsinki. And Ericsson is the technical manager is Patrick Rugland from Ericsson Research in Kista. So as I said, the consortium is very wide. We have service providers, we have applications and software-oriented partners. We have partners that are essentially dedicated to the creation of the platform. Here you may see also resource centers that are dedicated to this task, but of course also other small and medium enterprises. And so you may consider that this is also possible. So even in such large projects, small and medium enterprises are absolutely central. System and technology players, chips, and you may see that there are also partners that of course span between the different categories. And there is also a wide representation of operators like Orange, Telecom Italia, Vodafone, Telefonica, Telenor. And so we can really see that the flagship has all the possible instruments to this European view, and this European view is particularly important considering also the roadmap that we have ahead of us, that in this period of time, standardization of 6G has not yet started, at least formally, even if many discussions on topics related to 6G or to a very enhanced evolution of 5G have already taken place in the context of the different standardization bodies, and in particular, of course, in 3GPP. Just really in these days, the World Radio Conference is taking place in Dubai, and it is also a very important because it takes place every 4 years. And so it's a very important moment in time for the roadmap towards 6G. You may see that Hexa-X covered, let's say, the last part of the 5G evolution period, already working on 6G structuring and framing, while now we are entering into the 6G systemization, and actually Hexa-X-II is really a project overlooking these kind of aspects. Smart Network and Services joint undertaking that was described by Maurizio in the context of 6G Industry Association and the European Commission joint support is our reference as well. The project will last until mid of 2025 and will then enter into the phase of first standardization programs in 2025. So this is the general overview of the objectives of Hexa-X-II. So we actually work on this attempt of merging together the digital world with the human world and the physical world that is a sort of paradigm for 6G, considering a set of values that are also really very important for us. This was already the case for Hexa-X, but this is specifically the case for Hexa-X-II. In particular, echoing the point of view of operators, we really think that Hexa-X-II that 6G should be based on these values first, and after these values have been defined, then we can derive some performance indicator out of them. So in particular, these are the objectives. So first of all, of course, objective number 1 is the definition of requirements, but requirements that should be in the direction of a sustainable, inclusive, and trustworthy 6G platform. Bear in mind these objectives because these are really fundamental for 6G. 6G should not be just another generation, only the next one after 5G, or simply an extension of the capabilities of 5G, or simply an extension of the capacity of 5G in terms of bandwidth. If that will be the case, 6G will be a failure. And Hexa-X-II is totally aware of that. So in such a way that objective number 1 goes into the direction of this sustainability goal. Objective number 2 is, of course, the very central one, and it's the definition of this blueprint of the architecture of the future sustainable, inclusive, and trustworthy system. Objective number 3 is, of course, to enhance the connectivity for the services provided by 6G. Objective number 4 is about network sensing and in general about the big topic of artificial intelligence on the network. Objective number 5 is absolutely fundamental, and it's about the efficiency of the implementation. And then finally, objective number 6 is the impact creation of whatever is being done in the project. Here is the structure of the project. Of course, I won't go into the details of the different work packages. It's just informative for you, and it's related on how the objectives that I have described to you are connected with the internal structure of the project. Hexa-X-II has also quite a lot of interconnections with the rest of the world and with the associations inside Europe. Of course, our first priority is to work inside GUSNS, and so working together with the 6G Industry Association. Now there are quite a number of working groups inside the 6G Industry Association, and one of these working groups is also the one dedicated to the interconnection with small and medium enterprises like you. But we are also in good contacts with external actors like international players in Southeast Asia, in America, and overall in India also recently. And we are planning also to have, beginning of next year, if you are interested, I can give you more details offline. We are organizing a workshop with international players that will take place in February next year. Just to give you a little bit more of insight of the activities of the different work packages, work package 1 is the most important and the largest one in the project and works on the definition of all the requirements but these requirements actually are very tightly related to the values, and the values are those in the circles in the center of this picture. Essentially, sustainability, environmental, and economic objectives are, let me say, the families of our use cases, but also those qualities of the use cases without which we cannot even consider new use cases. Work package 2 is working on the architecture in a multi-stakeholder self-risk management setup, and also, let's say, taking always into consideration these values that you may see are, let me say, intertwining all the activities in the project. Work package 3 is working mostly on the architecture evolution or revolution with respect to the one of 5G, and of course taking into consideration the newest approaches in architecture layout, taking into consideration the edge, taking into consideration the disaggregation of the architectures. Work package 4 is mostly technical, and it works on the radio evolution and innovation. So essentially, some topics are here, for example, the towards terahertz communication, the joint communication and sensing activities, and the flexible usage of the spectrum. This work package is, of course, very tightly related with other Stream B projects. Work package 5 works mostly on new devices, and work package 6 on smart network management overall. So this was actually a very fast description of the project. Now I would like to spend the remainder of my presentation first to tell you what we do in terms of impact and dissemination, the work package that I am leading, and then telling you what are the possibilities for you to be in contact with us. Work package 7 is based on 4 tasks. The first one is about dissemination and communication, and is quite usual in all these kind of projects. Work package 2 is about the exploitation, that the partners intend to do, of the activities that they perform inside the project. Work Package 3 is about the relations with the standardization entities, 3GPP, ITU, ETSI, and so on. And finally, Task 4 is based, and by the way, is led by Maurizio Cecchi, and is dedicated to these interactions with international stakeholders and with small and medium enterprises. And in the context of this task 7.4, we have worked on the possibilities for involving more tightly with us the small and medium enterprises and overall all the external players. So if you go to the Hexa-X-II website, that is hexa-x2.eu, you may find a novelty, because we have added since some weeks actually a button on the top that is called Get Involved. You may see it with the arrow in this slide. And if you go to this section of Getting Involved, this page will open, where you actually may show off your ideas to us. As I said at the beginning, we don't have open calls in Hexa-X-II, so we cannot embark new partners in the consortium. But what we can do is to pay attention to you through this page, and through the possibility that you have to describe to us what you intend to do and what you are planning to do in the future. You may go to submit your idea, that is this button in this page, and you may also ask questions to us. Specifically, this new email address has been opened to collect and gather all your questions related to the possibilities for you to work with us. If you press that button, you go to this UNoodle starting page. You may see on the right-hand side of this web page, there is this click here to apply button. You may click it, and there will be the UNoodle facility open for you, where you may fill in your data, you may fill in your capabilities, and this will be sent to us. And of course, then we can establish a liaison or making some calls with you. Of course, as I said, there is no possibility to enter the consortium, but there is plenty of possibility to getting involved and making you visible to us. That's our goal and our purpose in doing this kind of getting involved facility up and running in our website. That's all from my side. Thanks a lot for listening, and I will give the ball to the next speaker.
Thanks a lot, Mauro, for a very comprehensive presentation. This initiative, this call of ideas, I think would be really a first step for the newcomers, for people that is not already involved in this kind of project, but is a very good way to start understanding how the whole thing is working. Now, Yannis, could you please take the floor?
Thank you very much, Mauricio. I'm sharing my screen.
We see your screen, not the slides.
Slide mode.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Morning. Thank you all for the great organization, for the great participation, and also really Mauricio for this excellent preparation and the rest of the colleagues. So what we are going to discuss today is the FIDAL project. FIDAL is a project that is running 1 year almost now. We started on January 23. It's a Stream D project within the SNS and Horizon Europe framework, as Mauricio briefed us before. So let's see some demographics about the FIDAL. FIDAL, it stands for Field Trials Beyond 5G. So we would like to push 5G to the limits and show some hints towards 6G. Of course, XIS has the big picture towards this, but we would like to contribute in the initial steps, leaving behind 5G and going forward to more innovative architectures and applications. The FIDAL project has 20 very competent partners. You see them in the screen. All of us have a long background with a lot of applications and infrastructures and experimentation frameworks that will bring and harmoniously blend in this project. This project has 3 test beds, one in Greece, one in Norway, and one in Spain, Malaga, with a common set of applications, of experimentation frameworks, and network applications. Really, the focus of FIDAL is to proliferate not only the experimentation framework, which has been done also in previous projects such as the 41 5G PTV projects, but focus on the development and upgrade of a wide set of network applications. You can see on the screen the website of the project, but also the website of the open calls that we are currently running. So, as we said before, the focus of the project is to go beyond 5G, and through this, we have, of course, our own use case, our own lab trials, but focus only on, mainly on large-scale trials involving end-to-end processes, users as well. We invite the community to contribute through the open calls process. We are committed to provide the platform, provide the applications, the experimentation framework to support you while onboarding and operating your use cases, but we would like you to bring your use cases, not lab trials, real end-to-end use cases along with the users, and see how we can accommodate heterogeneous verticals. We would like to use our experimentation framework and infrastructure. We do not want over-the-top use cases in order to see how we can move forward to the next generation of blending networks and applications and services. We would like to test flexibility, user acceptance, technology transfer, and we will see how we can further take up these use cases towards later on the commercial world. For the use cases, for the open calls, we have 2 options. We would like to invite single applicants that can bring their own NetApps or use our own NetApps, or both. They can bring their own applications, and of course the users. So these single applicants can apply for a grant up to 150K maximum, and will perform their own end-to-end trials using our own infrastructure and potentially their own NetApps as well that will be onboarded in our repository service. Since we would like to invite also more complex infrastructure that can be liaised with us, we have a second option for small consortia of 2 to 3 applicants together that can collaboratively apply to participate in open calls. They could bring their own infrastructure. This infrastructure will not be isolated, but they will be connected via appropriate mechanisms such as VPN with our infrastructures and with our NetApps repository. Again, there is an obligation by these applicants to use part or whole of apps and tools and perform with their own users and their own infrastructure the trials. Some indicative KPIs is that we probably we will exceed this actually from the acceptance we have so far, but the KPIs during the proposal is that we expect 250 to 300 potential use cases, 60 to 80 applicants submitting proposals in 2 cycles, and we probably, according to the envisaged acceptance, we will accept 26 to 28 proposals in both cycles. Of course, these proposals and subsequent projects will have to be deployed in the 3 test beds. Each applicant selects the preferred test bed. And our obligation is not only to assist you with the admin part, contractual, and so on and so forth, but we will assist you with onboarding the applications, running the trials, assisting in collecting KPIs, and we will provide any technical assistance at the end of the day in order to have a consistent outcome. What we want from you is not to give us, of course, the IPR of your applications and your services, but we want to share at the end of the project the lessons learned, the KPIs. All these data sets are very useful, not only for us, for our evaluation, but for the SMS community, the architecture, and the requirements that can be defined within your use case. With respect to the verticals that we address, our project mainly addresses PPDR and media verticals, but we are not only limited to this. So indicative verticals and applications that we could support, it's of course public safety, emergencies that may have to be faced, or smart cities or city security, media production in any type of form, gaming, pleasure, entertainment, whatever, Internet of Things, perhaps more. So these are indicative to bring new ideas, applications to test within our mature infrastructures and frameworks. We want to be totally transparent in receiving and evaluating and awarding the open call contracts. It's a very complex and dedicated and delicate process, but we have established, we think, a very proficient and objective mechanism to address this challenge. We appoint at least 2 external expert evaluators, and we really invited expert colleagues from the wider community that have deep knowledge in all previous frameworks, in all related projects, so they can understand immediately the quality of the received proposals. After, of course, the evaluation, which will start as soon as the submission is finished, the submission of the first cycle, as we showed before in Mauricio's slides, for FIDAL concludes on the 20th of December, in a couple of weeks from now. And we will have the evaluation and the consensus telco to agree on the evaluation score and text and comments. And we will smooth the human factors through a telco between evaluators. The coordinator, myself, will be there, but really we do not want to intervene and change the results. It's just to understand what is happening, what we are going to face, and which is the next process steps. By all this process, we safeguard that we will have a smooth and objective process to run with respect to the open calls, reception, and evaluation. The launch of the first cycle was in September 23. It lasts 3 months. We conclude on the 20th of December. This is the first cycle. Probably most of the SMEs that participate will not have the time, if they have not started already the process, to submit a good proposal. Please don't worry, we will launch a second cycle. The second cycle will be launched on the September of the 24th. It will be similar to the first one. So please keep in touch, follow our newsletter, follow our websites, contact us, and we will guide you in order to participate, if not in the first cycle, in the second one. After the evaluation, we are heading towards the contract agreement and onboarding of the new use cases in our platform, and this will start, as you see on the screen, at March 2024. This is my presentation. I think, Mauricio, the floor is back to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Yanis. I'm seeing some questions in the chat, and then after the final presentation, we'll go through it. So now we have the last project to be presented. So the introduction of the general features of the project will be presented by Giancarlo Sacco from Ericsson, and then I will present the terms and conditions. So please, Giancarlo, could you please take the floor?
Yes, thanks, Maurizio. Just please confirm if the sharing is active.
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you very much. I'm Giancarlo Sacco. I'm part of Ericsson Research and Development Organization in Italy, and I'm going to give you some information about Triesnet, as Ericsson is the project coordinator. We can start with some information about the project. That is belonging to JUSNS Phase 1 Stream D, that, as Maurizio said at the beginning of the presentation, is focusing on the large-scale trials. You see the name. Triesnet stands for trials supported by smart networks beyond 5G. So the part of trials is very important for the project. It is a consortium composed by 22 partners, partners coming from 5 European Union members states, and also one from extra-UE, so from United Kingdom. I saw before some question about this, so I think it's interesting to know it. The project lasts 3 years. We are now at the end of the first, as we have started on January 2023. The total budget is 14,600,000 euro, and of this we have around 5,500,000 for the open call. As said at the beginning, Ericsson is the project coordinator, while the technical manager of the project is in charge of Team Telecom Italia Mobile, you see here in the slide. Just have a look to a bit more in detail to the consortium. You see the names of the different partners. That if you look at the partners we have at the end, that is composed by network operators, by network manufacturers, 6G technology providers, verticals, academia, and experts in different areas as project management, innovation, and business and market analysis. On the map that is shown on the slide, that the partners are mainly concentrated in 4 areas, but also over than Spain, Italy, Greece, and Romania. Also in UK and Belgium, we have partners coming from the countries. If we move on the next one, it's very important for me to share the vision and the goal of the project. The 2 first points I want to highlight is the reliability and people's quality of life. Those are 2 important values that through the smart city, Triesnet and want to implement. And how to do this? We think that to do this, we should have the technology, so beyond 5G and 6G, that can really impact the social values as sustainability, resilience, inclusion, trust, security, and so on. So these 2 aspects in some way drive the Triesnet vision, that is to enable the realization of the compelling societal values to the implementation of 5G and beyond application. That's very crucial is for the project. But to do this, Triesnet is aiming to connect the digital with the physical natural worlds. Going to implement those large-scale trials in 3 different domains. The first domain is the infrastructure, the transportation, security, and safety. The second domain is the health and emergency, while the third domain is the culture, the tourism, and the entertainment. On these 3 domains, Triesnet is working on. So we have seen the vision. Now we can have a look a bit more in detail on the object of the project. So, as said, Triesnet is going to deploy a large-scale trials that are in some way incorporating the technologies that are key enablers for the 6G networks. In these trials, Triesnet will implement 13 innovative use cases that in the first cluster will some way cover the three vertical domains that we have just mentioned and see in the, let's say, in the previous slides. To do that, we also are building, let's say, an assessment framework that is based on technical socioeconomical values to validate the KPIs, the key performance indicators, and the KVIs, so the key value indicators, to contribute toward the standardization and all the ecosystem and values that in some way are part of the adoption of the 6G solution. And let's conclude also saying that is really expecting to get further strength thanks to the open call that is a key part of the project, because through this we can onboard the new key actors and new vertical use cases. Say that as a general introduction of the project. I think, Maurizio, the floor back to you for a more specific presentation on the open call part.
Thanks a lot, Giancarlo. If you can leave the stop the sharing. Okay, so this is the last presentation, and basically is the continuation of what is said by Giancarlo. So as said, the open call. So the open call, there is only this very small limitation, because the proposal from SMEs and startup may address the verticals that were mentioned by Giancarlo, but are very wide areas from health, infrastructure, environment, education, and so on. So I think there are many opportunities for you to present your use cases and trials. We have the same approach than FIDAL, as presented by Yannis, because we have these two options. The first one, gives the possibility to present a new use case and trials supported by the existing infrastructure, by the existing testbed. Triesnet is providing this support for companies that would like to propose a certain use case. You have already the technical basis to work on. Or you have also the chance to improve the initial use cases that were mentioned before, the 13 use case. You have all the information in the project website. So if you may propose advancement, involvement of your user, integration of new software application, features, datasets, and so on. So in this case, you have to show how you can improve the initial use case that are presented in the project website. There is a specific document describing this. And then FIDAL Triesnet gives the chance to present a completely new use case with different experimental frameworks, maybe private, commercial networks deployments in other countries. So you should not go in the countries that were presented before, so Spain, Greece, etc., but you may go in any other country of Europe. In this case, you have more support because, as you see, we have a similar total budget around 5.5 million euros. If you go under option 1, so using the existing infrastructure, the maximum participation, the maximum grant is 200,000 euros. If you have also to bring the support by another testbed in another location in other countries, you can ask up to 300,000. We have a limitation for single applicants, because for Triesnet initiative, you can participate alone or with a small consortium, but the maximum allowance by a single applicant, so by a single entity, is 200,000 euro grants. Here in Triesnet, we have a little more time. The deadline is the 19th of January of next year. So you have still time to prepare a proposal. You will find all the documentation and how to apply in the project website. As FIDAL, we are working through this funding box platform. That is a very well-known platform to participate to this kind of call. And we have an invitation on 60 eligible proposals that will be evaluated, but now we have very few proposals working, so there is a lot of room for new initiative, new application by new people that would like to approach this kind of open call. Like all the other SNS project, the legal organization, so we don't accept individuals, but the application must be presented by legal organization of the European Union or European associated country. In the guide for applicants of the project, you will find the link of the European Commission of this associated country. If you found, by the way, I saw a question about Iceland. Iceland, of course, is welcome to participate to this kind of initiative. Then we have a specific ethics guideline about privacy, preservation of data along GDPR, and this area is covered by specific documents so that for the selected applicants will be given, and of course the newcomers should follow these ethics guidelines. Then there is, as the other open call, a size limit. This is described in the funding box application. We have a specific proposal template to describe your use case that you can root, and the language for the application must be only in English. In our case, in Triesnet, a feasibility check is not mandatory, it's not compulsory, because you can apply directly without any previous feedback by the consortium. But if you want to do it, you still have 1 week to have some feedback about your feasibility. But I said this is not mandatory. While for FIDAL, for option 1, yes, was mandatory. Here is different. Then there is a specific template to present it. And for this one, the deadline is very short, is the 10th of December. It's important that, like for FIDAL, also Triesnet offer 100% of coverage of the submitted cost, and you can include 25% of overheads on your cost. So all your activity may be covered if selected by this initiative. And like any other Horizon Europe initiative, there is a publication, the annotated grant agreement, to see which kind of cost may be covered or not, but basically all costs needed for the trial. So personnel, you see here, there is an example, a template that you can see that is about travels, equipment, specific services, and so on. So if you want to participate alone, you can do it. So a single beneficiary is allowed. If you want to participate in a small consortium, and the consortium is maximum of 3 entities, you will have to present this kind of detail for the 3 partners. So this is just a conclusion. In this project, the contracts will be effective from May next year. So we will give the results of the call around March, and then the formal agreement will be completed and finalized 2024. And having also, in our case, the indicative period of 1 year to complete the activity. If you need any kind of information, all of these documents are available. The guide for applicants, that is a very detailed way how you can go, the condition, the terms, and so on. All the size and use case description that are available right now in the project, all the part on key performance or key value indicators. You have the template for the use case and the template for the budget. And in FIDAL, we have a frequently asked question for additional information. As I said, single or multiple beneficiary max 3 are possible. And then if you have any other informed question, specific one, you can apply to this help desk, the open call at triesnet.eu, for any kind of specific question and answer. Thanks a lot. Okay. So now we have still 10 minutes. We may go on the question that were presented very fast. Question about Iceland, for sure. Iceland entities can participate. Sorry for UK participants. FIDAL and Triesnet are 2023 initiatives, so from last year, and the present agreement with the European Commission, the agreement the UK and Commission, doesn't cover this open call. But for the next call that I presented, also for the other project, UK may participate, not for these two one. The deadline for ESA project is to participate to this call of ideas. There is no deadline, so it's open. Please go ahead immediately. Mauro and myself and other people will take care of your ideas. So there is no deadline. The project will have other 18 months of work, so you have time, but if you go there right now, it's much better. As I said, about the answer from the Iceland people. This is about UK. Question by Ioannis, please, Yannis. Could two applicants submit a proposal for use case GitHub, or is it mandatory? Can you please answer?
Just reading the question, if I understand correctly, Pablo refers to option 2, where more than one applicant can submit a proposal. The preferred is that they bring their own infrastructure and liaise the infrastructure without testbed. We have candidates that they inform us that they will submit a cooperative proposal without bringing a huge infrastructure, but they will deploy whatever they want on site. They will apply for this. So yes, it is possible that a small group of 2 to 3 applicants will not bring a large infrastructure on their own, but they will deploy our applications in our testbed. Thank you.
Thank you, Yannis. Then there is a specific question about manufacturing. Okay, in manufacturing, if is related to time critical use case is covered by FIDAL. So it's really the time critical factor is important, and you can really demonstrate that the evolution of 5G is useful for this kind of use case. Yes, it's covered by FIDAL, but in larger terms, you can apply also to Triesnet. Let's see if there is other, about the sharing of the slides. Yes, was confirmed. So all the 5 presentations will be made available by the European Digital SME Alliance. Question. Triesnet, could the same project apply to FIDAL and Triesnet? Okay, both don't have a specific TRL, so in terms of maturity. Of course, we are asking for trials, field trials, so not lab test or theoretical use cases. Clearly, higher level of TRL will be addressed. So we don't have a formal condition, but the target is going to higher TRL. About participation, yeah, you may apply to both projects, FIDAL and Triesnet, of course, with different projects. You cannot have the double funding. Okay, you can submit 2 proposals. If are the same, of course, will be funded only by one project, and will be hard from us to decide which one. But it's important that the entities can apply to the different goal. There is no limitation. Of course, to have the funding, you have to demonstrate that you propose different activity. Perfect. I see that we ended our time. A very interesting question. I don't know if there is anything else from the participants or anybody. Okay, so thanks a lot. Thank you for the attendance. All the information will be made available, and hoping to collaborate more directly to you, not only webinar, but real activity in the future. Thank you to the European Digital Alliance to support all these initiatives, and moreover to the speaker of the webinar. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.